Hello and welcome to season 4 of GPGP. This is our little megabyte to introduce the season, tell you all about what we're going to be doing this season and some of the exciting things we have coming up. But first off, Poetic, how are you doing, my friend?
Do you know what? I'm doing all right. Struggled with a stomach bug for the past week or so, but
Mm-hmm.
that's now behind me. But I do still feel a bit exhausted. But
Yeah,
other than that, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I mean, I uploaded a video yesterday. I don't know if people have seen it, but big news for me is that I'm going to be a dad very, very soon. So October, baby's due. So yeah, very, very exciting. And that is
That is
also
very exciting.
why people have probably noticed my like not GPGP, well sometimes GPGP, but the kind of the YouTube and the shorts and stuff, the schedule's been a little bit haphazard recently. And it's
Yeah,
purely because I have to put my fiance and how she's feeling first, which I'm sure
yeah, of course.
everyone gets. Um,
Yeah,
so yeah, moving
uh,
forward, it's gonna be. I don't want to say a lot less, but it's like that's why I'm doing one YouTube video a week, where I was previously doing three. Um,
yeah,
Whereas like if I missed the one YouTube video because of something, it's not as big of a thing. So I'm pulling it back now so that people kind of get used to it. You know, when baby
yeah.
arrives, because once baby arrives, like it might be like 2 months where I'm away before I kind of get the schedule back. So
Yeah, of
we'll
course.
we'll have to see how that all pans out. But yeah,
I,
exciting
I've
times.
I've got a question.
Oh
I've got a
God, go on.
question, and I know that a lot of listeners or watchers are probably thinking this. Did you time this so that you can take her paternity leave around GTA 6?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, to be honest. Um, no, so I get 2 weeks, but because I work in a school, it has worked out that the baby will be born around half term, so I should get
Yeah.
technically 3 weeks off, but it'll be like
Okay.
1 week at half term, 2 weeks paternity,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's worked out quite nicely, and that's also one of the reasons why the house has been like well, I'm decorating the house and doing this room this week. Like we in 7 months we've nearly decorated an entire house. Like
Yeah. No, which is bloody impressive, man.
yeah, the goal is again, as I say, I work in a school. The goal is by the 6 week holiday in the summer, I want the interior to be done so that I can in the summer I can spend my time outside and doing the garden and flagging it and all the
Yeah.
fun stuff in the garden and knocking a wall down in the front garden as well.
Are you?
Yeah, well, I've got a drive, but the drive was built before they started building like SUV style cars. So like my
Ah,
my
okay.
car doesn't fit on the drive, which is an absolute pain. But yeah, that's my like personal news. What have you been kind of playing at the minute, gaming wise?
Oh, do you know what? On like this is gonna sound really sad, right? But obviously I've been ill. I had the stomach bug,
Mm,
so I haven't really been playing much. But I have been watching a lot of video game YouTube stuff,
nice.
and I say I haven't been playing much. Basically I've been playing a bit of EAFC
Hmm.
and a bit of Mario Tennis Fever.
Yeah, so kind of like games you don't have to concentrate too much on. You're
Yeah,
just kind of the bit wishy washy.
yeah. But do you know what? So, um, because of our master bedroom, right, is
Mm,
quite small, we decided that we were going to get a cheap projector from Amazon, right?
nice.
So, we sometimes plug the switch into the projector, and obviously it's like a massive screen. It's like
Yeah.
at least 80 inches, right? And
Mm.
it's massive. So now I'm thinking, bloody hell, should I invest in a projector instead of a TV? Because
Why
I
not?
do want to, because I game on monitors, but eventually I do want to get a TV, and my thought was to get an OLED.
Mm.
But now I'm like, oh crap, should I invest and get a projector instead? We'll see. I've got to
Depends on
run
the
it past
quality, doesn't
Beartooth.
it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I was looking, right? I was looking at 4K gaming projectors, and they're like over $1,000.
Mm.
But getting a 4K OLED TV is also roughly $1,000. So now I'm like, well, at that point, the TV might be the more sensible.
The thing that I'd be like, I'd be worried about with that, and like the whole kind of crux for me would be how many ports has each one got? Because like for me personally,
Yeah,
if it's a TV, like this TV here has two HDMI ports, but I actually
yeah,
have like five HDMI cables going everywhere because of like splitting and game capture underneath my desk. So ideally, I'd probably want a TV which had like four HDMI's. But if the projector's got that, then I'd go,
no,
if
it
it's like
doesn't.
same quality, I'd go
Yeah,
for the one
no.
with the more ports.
So the thing is, I think the projectors only come with like one port and stuff. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I've basically been playing um Mario Tennis Fever and EAFC.
Hmm.
Um, and that's about it really. In the background, I've been um, what have I been doing? I've been like, I don't know if you've seen, but on my shorts, like I've been like playing around with like lighting to improve like the visual quality
Yeah,
of the shorts and stuff. Um, and on one of them, I made it. When I was editing it, I was like, bloody hell! Like that is so clear that like I can see like the like imperf imperfections on my skin, and I was like, bloody hell, man, that's a bit too, that's a
yeah,
bit
yeah.
too
Put a
clear.
filter on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um,
Oh
but
dear.
yeah, no, that's what I've been doing. How about you? What have you been playing?
So I've been on a bit of a kick of playing like retro games.
Yeah, yeah, same.
One that they're doing really well on stream, and what I've found is people are more likely to stop for a game that they haven't seen in ages. Whereas like everyone's playing Crimson Desert right now. If I loaded up Crimson Desert, they're like, oh, I've seen this. More like scroll past.
Yeah,
But if I'm playing like The Simpsons Hit and Run, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, people are like, oh, I remember this game. Or I might watch this guy play while I play. And
yeah.
I found that TikTok's doing really, really well for lives for me at the minute. Like,
Oh, that's really good.
I think I'm averaging about 6 new follows per live stream,
Oh
and
wow.
you know before I was doing lives, I'd say there'd be some months where I wouldn't get 6 new follows. It's just the way it
Yeah,
is. But then the next month might be like 200 new follows. Like
yeah,
it is what it is. And not saying that followers are everything, but it's nice to know that people are enjoying what I'm doing so much that they will click that follow button. Um,
yeah. Of course, yeah.
so yeah, I've been playing that, like the retro games. I've also been playing like demos a lot on Steam, and like a lot people know a lot of the times that I game is to make content. I don't really, especially with baby on the way, my time's a lot more limited. So I'm trying to squeeze gaming in wherever I can.
Yeah.
But I played a game, and I'm gonna hype these guys up as much as I can. But they're called On School Games, and they're releasing a game on my birthday, 30th of April, called Alchemist Journey of the Soul, and it's like a puzzle game,
Mm.
and it is absolutely amazing. Like I did a video on it, and it was about an hour's worth of content, well, 20 minutes of content, but I was probably actually playing the game for 2 hours. Like that's how
Oh
good of
wow.
like a puzzler that it is, that I actually had to kind of stop and I told myself I am not gonna look at a guide. I am not doing it because it ruined the like immersion. Um,
Yeah.
the only time I did look at a guide once, because it was in demo phase, I couldn't find a like a rock, and it
Yeah.
wouldn't like come up. And because it was in demo phase, I thought, oh, it might be a little bit glitched.
Glitched.
It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was just me being silly. But that was the only time that I looked at one. But that game, it was not what I would play at all, like at
No.
all. But I saw the developers on Instagram, and I just reached out to them and said, "Would you mind if I did like a little video on this?" And they're like, "Yeah, go for it." And they've been really cool about everything with it and promoting me and stuff. So good little partnership. Um,
Yeah.
Speaking of kind of partnerships and things to do in content creation, shall we talk a little bit about it? That was the worst segue ever, but we're going
Yeah, I
with
was
it.
gonna say.
We're
I was
going
like,
with it.
where the hell are you going with this? Yeah.
Oh god. Yeah, so we on this podcast we big up and talk about like, if you're thinking about doing content creation, go into it and enjoy it
Yeah.
and take up both hands. And we are still saying that, but we don't talk a lot about the potential kind of pitfalls and the things that, keep
Yeah.
cropping up and, might be a bit, oh, I can't be bothered doing this today, or like just a little like niggly things that people might not know about content creation. So, Poetic, do you have any that you can think of?
Yeah, I think the biggest one for me is well, the biggest two is executing,
Mm,
like finding the time and the willingness to do the actual work,
yeah,
right? And then I think the second one is imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome. Can't
yeah,
speak today.
100%.
Um, but yeah, I think to speak on the first one, um, just finding the time to execute, right? It's um, as you know, well, you're the prime example of this, right? Because when we first started out, you were still living at your parents' house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you've moved, and now you're progressing into um being a dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And time is only
Still
getting
feels
more and more
weird people saying that.
but yeah, time is more and more scarce, right? Like there's always a million and one things to do.
Yeah,
And yeah, for me it's difficult in the sense like it's hard to find the time to do stuff. And I also feel really stupid about it in the sense like I don't really, well, I don't have kids that I know about anyway. No, I'm joking. I don't have kids. We've got a puppy, but that's not as big of a commitment as having a child, obviously.
mm,
Um, and so like me find saying that I don't have time feels like a bit of a cop out, if I'm being honest. If
mm,
I'm being hypercritical of myself, because I'm not, from this point forward, I'm only going to get less time, right? So I
yeah,
need to find the time to do the things I want to do, content and gaming wise. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be fucked basically.
yeah. I think the thing that I struggle with is
Mm,
like at the minute, I'm trying to consistently stream twice a week at the minute, and that
yeah,
can't always be the case. But I've took it down from three to two. Um, but the way I'm doing it now is the Wednesday stream is 2 hours. So any streams that are in the week are 2 hours, and then
yeah,
of a weekend when I do stream, as long as everything else around I need to get done is done. I've had my tea, I've painted the room, I've bought X, Y, and Z. Whatever jobs were in mine and Abby's heads, as long as they're done, I could do a 4 hour or more stream. 4 hours is usually where I start to get a bit like I need to stop the stream now. Um,
yeah,
so do a little bit longer on the weekend, but like yesterday, and I think this shows that my priorities are shifting a bit. It was the first time that I was on stream, and well, not the first time, but the first time that I felt really guilty I was streaming and I did about an hour and 10 minutes, and I just said
Yeah.
to my chat, "I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go spend time with my fiance. You know, I'm quite, that's what I feel I need to do today." Um,
Yeah.
so I think it is my whole point around that was it's about communication and just being like not putting pressure on. There is pressure when you do content. Like if you if you build up that you're gonna do 6 videos a week,
Yeah.
or you're gonna do one long form video, 3 streams, a podcast, and if you start with that, it's 9 times out of 10 you're gonna fail. You need to build it up and
Yeah.
then scale back where you don't need to. So like yesterday, I wanted to put a short out to kind of announce that I was going to be a dad, and the way I wanted to do it was like pictures, like the way that I did do it in the end. Now on YouTube you can't do a post like that. Back in the day I would have done a separate video just for YouTube, but
Yeah.
yesterday I was just like, Instagram and TikTok's fine. You know, if people follow me on those apps, if they follow me on YouTube, they're more than likely going to be following me on the short form things as well. So I thought, you know
Yeah.
what, it is what it is, and I
Yeah.
think it's just about like what you said there, but the the imposter syndrome of like, I think setting boundaries is good. Like I had it where I was on YouTube and I had this guy that kept coming in, and I like to start by just talking to everyone for like 5 to 10 minutes before I start my streams. And he kept coming
Yeah.
in and go, "When are you gonna play the effing game? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that?" And I remember saying to him, like, "Mate, I'll do it whenever you want. If you want to watch someone playing a game, I'll do it whenever I want. Sorry. If you want to watch
Yeah.
someone playing a game, go watch someone else. Like, it doesn't like if people want to go watch other people, go for it. But this is
Yeah.
my stream. This is our podcast. Like we're gonna like if you're gonna start something, do it the way that you want to, and don't be influenced by
Yeah.
other people. I
Yeah.
went
No,
off on a
100%.
mad tangent then, but I hope
Yeah, that's
some
fine.
people got some insight there.
Um, well, let's um I think just to close off the time stuff, I think with the time stuff, it's difficult, but I do think it's something that essentially I know myself that I do have the time to do everything I want to.
Mhm.
It's more so just finding the motivation to get up and do it, right?
Yeah,
And I feel like that is probably more closely linked to one fear, like what if I put my all my time into doing something and it fails?
yeah.
And I think that then relates to probably the more pertinent thing, which is the imposter syndrome, right?
Hmm.
Because yeah, like I will. Well, I guess, do you have imposter syndrome, Dan? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Um, just explain to me like what imposter syndrome is, just so I'm on the same wavelength as you, because my brain's not firing today.
That's fine. Essentially, the the way I would like, I guess for me, I'll say it from my point of view,
Okay.
right? Um, I guess for me, it's more of a case of like, um, one, am I wasting my time doing like
Mm.
what I want to do? But in the sense that like, is what I'm doing actually good?
I, I suppose, yeah. I'm gonna say I don't have that, and that's probably quite a controversial, like quite big thing to say. But I think the way that I combat it is like anyone who's followed me from when I first started, that I like to try different things.
Yeah,
And I think because I try so many different things, like I don't, when I say that I'm gonna go, like today, there's very few like house jobs today. So I'm gonna do a fair bit of recording and stuff like that. So I'll say to Abby, I'm gonna have a social media day. I don't say I'm going to have a TikTok day. I'm not going to have a Twitch day. It's a social media day because
Yeah,
there's there's things that I've done that have been, very successful. From my point, I've had YouTube videos that I'm really, really proud of. I've had,
yeah,
the podcast has done really well. Just the whole good game down thing that I'm building. But then I've had merch. My merch I've had open for probably about 6 months. It's sold to two people, and you're one of them. But
hey,
but that doesn't bother me because of the
yeah,
way that I've done it. I knew that the merch would be a risk, so I never put any money into it.
yeah,
It's a print on demand thing for a reason of it's there if you want it. If you don't, it's fine. Um, so I think to answer your question, there's so many things. What's gone on with your camera there?
yeah. I don't know.
Zoom in, dramatic zoom in. To answer your
Yeah,
question,
yeah. I don't know what's happened there.
let me stop recording. Actually, no. I'm gonna sit here and let you struggle with this. Shall I keep
Yeah,
talking
go
while
on.
you
Just
try and figure it out?
answer my question.
Yeah.
Bloody
Oh,
hell.
technical difficulties of being podcast host. So, oh dear.
Yeah,
I mean, I can move you on my end to make it like you're in the middle, if that would make more sense.
I have no idea what's happened there. But yeah,
Mm.
sorry. So answer my question. Go on. Whilst I
Yes.
try to figure this out.
So, so yeah, I do so much stuff essentially that I find that there's so much that I am good at, that the stuff that I'm bad at, and I get imposter syndrome. Hey, you fixed it. That I get
Yeah,
imposter syndrome out of. It's not as much. I think the, the one time that I do get imposter syndrome is when I
yeah,
am networking for guests on the podcast and they say yes. Like,
yeah,
th- I don't want to spoil anyone, but the some of the guests that we've reached out to recently are mega, mega,
yeah,
mega, mega. Um, and we're really excited because a lot of them have said that, yeah, we're interested, but they have
yeah,
such busy schedules that we're trying to just fit them in. So it's kind of like half done, if that makes sense.
yeah,
We got the initial interest there. We just need to
yeah,
kind of figure out when it would actually work for them. And I think, just going off on a tangent again, I think that's something that going forward with the podcast, we're gonna have to kind of work out a little bit, because it could be that we have 5 recordings in 1 week, and then
yeah,
we upload a load, and we don't actually have to sit down. Not that we don't have to sit down, that makes it sound like I don't want to, but we don't actually have to sit down and record the podcast for like 6 weeks then, because we've
yeah,
got
exactly.
so many backlogged. But then it could also be a fact that they're so spaced out that there's going to have to be a few where it's just us. Um,
Yeah,
so I think that's going to be a big challenge for this season. But before we
yeah.
go on to kind of like stuff for this season, is there anything else like pitfalls of content that you can think of? Because we talked about the time management and imposter
Yeah.
syndrome.
I think maybe I think I should. It's only fair that I probably elaborate a bit further on like my imposter syndrome, right? And
Yeah,
I think it genuinely does stem from like I have a vision of where I want to be and what I want to do, and I feel like I've been very clear in that like I want to be known for like reviewing video game stories, right?
yeah,
But then I also look at where I am right now, and that gap is, I don't want to say massive because it's not massive, because everything is in place to do it. It's just, I guess it's kind of scary, right? Like,
yeah.
like shit, man. Like
Like
this is a
the jump.
lot to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know whether I just have a bit of a warped brain when it comes to stuff
Nah,
like
I love it,
this.
man.
But
I met. sorry to cut you off, but I've mentioned um I mentioned this on a podcast that we did. I'm not sure if I can say everything, but I mentioned about like what the one thing I admire about you is how brazen you are, right? Like how you
Yeah,
just
I remember that.
go for it. Yeah, so
I,
anyway, go on.
because like I don't want people to like get it twisted. When I say that, like I don't want it to feel like a brag when I'm like, oh,
It's not.
there's loads of things that I'm good at, and there's some things that I'm not. I think that's just like people being self-aware. Like I know I'm not the best at
Yeah, of
editing.
course.
I know I'm not the best at getting this bloody camera to focus. But maybe I can do it. Hang on, hang on. No, no. Yeah,
Oh, you almost had it. No, put your hand
I had
back.
it for a second.
No, no, put your hand.
No, 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 no. There we
Yeah, people are
go.
gonna be so confused at that
Oh
second, right?
my
Put your...
god! And if you were listening, that was just me like fiddling with the camera. Um, but yeah, I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, I just kind of like I don't know. Like I just have this thing of like if I want to get there, I will,
Yeah, yeah,
and things kind of like work out for me. And I don't mean that in a horrible way or like in a oh I'm doing this and I'm doing that. It's just I try to be optimistic about things in the fact
mm,
that like obviously at the minute one of the things in my personal life is money because we're about to have a kid, so there's been a few talks about like do we actually have enough money to do this and this,
yeah, yeah,
and we sat down, went through it, and we were like, yes, we are absolutely fine. But that initial
yeah,
of like, oh crap, I try to be very logical in my approach of how I do things. So like, say for example, say I wanted, right, say by the next year I wanted to be interviewing people at games events.
yeah,
Not that I do. It's not something that interests me that much. But I would book on to as many games events as I can and take a microphone and start doing it. And
yeah,
I would reach out to the people that own these events and say, would I possibly be able to get a press badge and do a little bit of social media stuff for my channel? And I'll promote your thing and I'll do this, and this. I just want to be able to get my foot in the door. And if you send out 100 emails, 10 will probably say yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
and I think I'm not gonna lie, AI is one of the best things if you're gonna start doing content. Like
Yeah,
even for little things, like I recently started really taking pride in my YouTube videos recently, like really trying to make them
yeah. No, your
better.
latest one's excellent, mate.
Um, and I will create the thumbnail. I will print screen that thumbnail and put it in AI and go, how do I make this better? And it'll go, do this, and this. I'll go and do that. I'll print screen that one, put it back into AI and go, now how do I make this better? Until it literally says, I don't know what else you can do,
Yeah,
And then I'll do the same for the description and say, make this SEO optimized or search engine optimized. And it's just like little things like that. Like, I don't know if that attributes to how well the videos do, but I always think if I hadn't put that effort in, then I wouldn't have a good baseline to kind of start from.
yeah, yeah.
If
No, I
if
get
that
that.
makes sense. I
Um,
feel like I'm proper waffling this podcast, but it's all right.
nah. What I was gonna say is, so would you say to combat imposter syndrome is, which is gonna sound, which is gonna sound really like not ironic or contradictory, but would you say it's more um just do it, I guess?
Nike sponsor incoming. um,
Yeah.
not not necessarily just do it. I think don't put your eggs all in one basket, I think is the message that I'd say. So like, because that's when it can lead to like negative mental health. And
Mm.
this is going to be a bit deep, but like, for example, I post my shorts on Instagram, TikTok, and
Yeah.
YouTube. I might post a video on TikTok and it gets 50 views, but then I look
Yeah.
at YouTube short and it gets 1,000. I might
Yeah.
look at Instagram and it gets 300. So it just, if you were going, I'm going to be a YouTuber, and you literally, because everyone does, you start with 0 subscribers. You might have maybe 5, 10 if you've got family that all subscribe to you.
Yeah.
But then you're only going to get 10 views on that short, like concrete views, and then all the rest are going to be from people who don't know you. Um, but then it becomes relative, doesn't it? So, like for
Yeah.
me personally, I look at like YouTube. I'll just use YouTube as an example because it's got a really good way of doing it. For people that don't know, if you post 10 videos on YouTube and then you post another one, and it in the first hour it'll say this video is a 1 of 10 or a 2 of 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
One being the best, 10 being the worst. So out of those last 10 videos, you can see how good that video is done. And then you can look at that video and see what it might have been. It might just be the game. It might be the thumbnail. It might be it might be whatever, or it might be a combination of all that. But you know, you can kind of see how it progresses, and
Yeah.
that's purely relative to you. So if your all 9 videos get 2 views in the first week, and then in the first hour your 10th video gets 2 views, that video is a hit.
Yeah.
Even though it's 2 views, it's got the same amount of views in an hour as all the others have in a week. So
Yeah.
I think that's what people need to look at rather than looking into like, oh, PewDiePie got, or the Sidemen. Like they just had the charity match, haven't they, yesterday?
Yeah.
And I was watching that. I watched it after the fact, and I looked, and it had nearly 10 million views in
Crazy.
6 hours. Like
Crazy.
that's not gonna, unless you have a mega trendy viral video, that's not gonna happen for your first video. So
No. Yeah.
keep it relative to you, and also with shorts, like at the minute I've got nearly 3K followers. If
Yeah.
one of my shorts gets 1,000 views, that means a third. Well, it isn't exactly because it could be FYP and all that. But the way I view it in my
Yeah.
head is a third of the people that have ever followed me have watched that video.
Yeah.
If 200 people watch it, that's what, like 8% of your
Yeah.
audience have watched that video. It's still good. If you didn't post it, 0 people would watch it. I think that's
Yeah.
something that people
That,
need to remember.
that's actually a brilliant thing. If you don't post it, 0 people will watch it. That's
Exactly.
brilliant.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I get that.
I'm trying to think if there's any other things. Um, oh, something that will happen. It will happen when you, especially on Twitch, is you will get people coming into your chat pretending to be artists, or pretending to be legitimate viewers, and then going, "Oh, by the way, I'm a graphics designer."
Yeah.
But they'll be quite abrasive about it. They'll go, "Your logo is a bit rubbish. Would you like me to do it?" And I'm like, "Well, no. Like, I'm quite happy with my logo. Piss off."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
just be aware that other people are trying to network as well, and they might not do it in the correct ways and stuff like that. So
Yeah. No, absolutely.
yeah. So should we move on to ambitions for season 4 then?
Yeah. Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll let you talk for a bit because I feel like I've talked loads.
Um. Cool. Ambitions for the season. I think, I think the biggest ambition is to broaden the the type of guests we have.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like last season was very content creator heavy,
Yeah.
and I think this season, not looking at the list of guests that we've got coming up, it it still potentially might be content creator heavy, but the types of content creators we want to have on is a lot more diverse. Um,
Yeah.
and that's not by accident. That is by genuine design on
Yeah.
our part.
And just to jump in on that, sorry to cut you off. The reason
Yeah,
for that is we want to get like different stories. So I'm not going to say
yeah,
names, but at the minute we are in talks with a content creator who has less than 100 followers and a content creator who has over 100,000 followers on YouTube. Um,
yeah,
so because it'd just be interesting to look at those podcasts side by side and see what their views on content creation are.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's the reason that we do it. And we're not like whether people have a million or they have 10,000 or they've got one follower, you know, if I've said this a million and one times, if we think that you have an interesting story or you have
Yeah,
something to offer, then we will get you on the podcast at some point. Um,
yeah.
but
Not
yeah,
forcefully though. We
no,
will
no,
ask.
not by
Yeah.
gunpoint, not by gunpoint. But what just
um.
on that, something that I think we need to remember as well is last season was the first season we had guests.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
season two, we had Coach Marv as the finale, and then
Yeah.
season three was, I think, bar 2 episodes, we had a guest, so
Yeah.
seven guests, which we realised the logistical nightmare that can be, but
Yeah.
it's I feel like season three was kind of like I was about to say coming out party, but that's not the right turn of phrase. Or
Uh,
like uh, where the podcast kind of grew its wings a little bit, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that, and which brings me on to the next ambition, and I think we started this towards the end,
Hmm.
but getting a bit more organized with the actual running of the podcast.
Yeah,
So like we've set up a Google sheet where we now like track our guests, who we've contacted,
yeah. That's all
and
down to
stuff
you,
like
by
that.
the way. That was nothing to do with me. I'm not going to take any
Nah,
credit for that one, but fair play.
nah. No, but like it we we've both been doing quite a bit of admin in the background just to ensure
Hmm.
that things are as efficient as they possibly can be. Because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, um, we want to, I guess, we want to make everything easy so that actually sitting down and having these conversations can happen as
yeah,
regularly as possible. Um, and yeah, I think those are my ambitions because I feel like everything else will kind of take care of itself if we get
yeah,
those couple of things right.
yeah. And I think what's good about this now is ambitions change. So I think on the season three megabyte, I was very much I want X amount of views, I want X amount of listens, I want this, and this. Whereas now I'm kind of like I want cool guests on, and
Yeah,
I want to a little ambition for me is I want to see how many emails and networks we can do and like how far we can push it before we get rejected on the pod. 'Cause we haven't yet.
yeah, yeah.
We've
No,
we
that is true.
we've had, and that might be on us because we haven't reached out, far enough. Um, but I just want to see, you know, what's the peak? Like the people that have either we, we're finding that middle ground, aren't we? So we reach out to people and they'll
Yeah.
either be like, yes, we're coming on it, or we'll reach out to people and they're so huge that they won't even see the message. Um,
Yeah.
so we need to find that middle ground of like, oh, this is like a little bit of a if we get this person on, whoa, like we never would. It's not going to be like your Hideo Kojima's yet.
Nah,
I always put
yet,
the
yeah.
yet in, but you know, there's a few people that are on our radar that are like, do you know what? This would be sick to have these
Yeah.
people on. So
Yeah, and I think we are now in a place where eventually we will get people reaching out to us and be like, "Hey, I would like to
yeah,
come on
yeah.
and thing."
And
We've
if
had
that is
some,
you, by the way, if that is you, like reach out to us, like
yeah,
go for it. We want to hear from you. So
yeah, and I was gonna say we've had a few instances of that, but
mm,
that typically it's people within, I'd say, our inner circle, so people that we interact with regularly. But
yeah,
I feel like if when it happens, because it will definitely happen, I feel like for me personally, that's when I'm going to be like, yeah, this is transition from like a hobby to something important, like to the gaming community, because it's
yeah,
important to me. But I feel like when someone reaches out to us and be like, hey, I've seen a few of your episodes, I've seen the guests, like I would love to be a part of this, yeah,
yeah,
then so yeah.
100%, 100%. And I'm excited to see where it goes. And I think we both have this idea of like we want to keep it evolving and we want to keep adding new things to the pod, and we're gonna keep trying to do that, keep trying to bring you new stuff, and try and just keep it entertaining for you. There might just be a few episodes where it's just me and Poetic, and I think
Yeah,
when that's the case, it's going to be more about like it's going to be a bit more personal, a bit more deep dives into content and what we do and our personal stories. But then when we have the guests on, obviously it's going to be more about the
about the
guests.
guest.
So
Yeah,
like for example, like um I'll use these guys because two of my I love all the guests, but two of my favourites were Mag and James Beaumont. We wouldn't have talked about voice acting with Mag, and we wouldn't have talked about gaming events with James Beaumont. It has
yeah,
to be
exactly.
relevant to the guests.
Yeah,
But yeah, looking forward to who we're in talks with. It's going to be very exciting. One thing as well that really was like amazing, and I'm not going to shout him out, but the guy who did it knows who he is. He's a potential guest coming on. Um, he messaged me, and this is how it kind of came about that he was going to come on. And he was like, "Mate, I've been on holiday and I've been listening to the podcast while I've been on holiday, and it's really, really good." And I was just kind of thinking, like, someone's on holiday, they're sat there in a
yeah,
sun lounger, and they've thought to listen to us, and that just it means a lot. So
yeah,
we'll
yeah.
I've kind of got this thing with Game Matter as well, another friend of the podcast and guest, and we keep saying, "What's the weirdest place people have like watched you from?" And so far, we've each individually had a shower, a toilet. I think Luke's watched me in Tesco, and I've watched him in Aldi. Um, and it's like we're trying like one up each other. Um, so one thing I might try to do one day is I might see if I can watch like a Game Matter or a Poetic stream on like top of Mount Snowdon or something
Bloody hell.
like just something a bit mad.
Well, do you know what this reminds me? So I used to work. I used to work in retail store,
mm,
and there was this guy that came in, and he worked for the army, and he wanted to get like a mobile um Wi-Fi device so he could
mm,
connect his Xbox to it to play online.
Mm.
And I was like, just out of curiosity, yeah, like, where are you actually planning to do this, yeah? And he was like, he can't tell me.
Yeah, yeah,
And I was basically like, yeah, I genuinely don't think this is gonna work. Where you like, because he basically said it's not in the UK, and I was like, yeah, this won't work outside of the UK. But then I was thinking like, mate, there's probably someone in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean playing Call of Duty right now or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Crazy.
Probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's mad.
yeah, no.
But speaking of kind of like new things and features that we're going to have on the podcast, something
Yeah,
that we thought of, and it was just to kind of on a whim that this idea came about. I was driving in my car and I messaged Poetic. Obviously, like I thought the idea stopped my car. I messaged Poetic. I didn't know while I was driving, obviously, before anyone comes at me. um, Message Poetic, and we refined the idea together. So this is, we're gonna call it Game and Last Meal, or like that's a working title. We're gonna kind of
yeah,
change it. So you have to pick your starter, which is like if you had to play one mini game for the rest of your life, you have to pick a main, which is a story game that you have to play for the rest of your life, and you have to pick a dessert, which is a cozy game for the rest of your life. Now, you can have appetizers that are kind of, little honorable mentions, but you can only play them a little bit because appetizers are usually just a little bit, aren't they?
yeah.
So, Poetic, what would your game and last meal be?
All right. So I'm thinking about this as we go through. So all right. So I think my appetizer or starter would be Tetris, but
Nice.
specifically Tetris Effect Connected.
Okay, what's different about that?
Um, so it's basically like it's Tetris, right? But then it's got like neon lights and it's super cool and like the music is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Me and Player Two used to spend like when I say hours, like literal hours sat on her
Mm.
floor just playing it and like you can battle each other. So essentially like if you clear enough blocks, right? You can then send a bunch of blocks to your opponent.
All right.
So yeah, we used to spend hours playing that. But like yeah, so that in terms of a story game, that one
Mm.
I think is difficult. I would probably go for something I haven't played. Um, it would either have to be Red Dead Redemption 2 or
Mm.
Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay. Have you not played either
Um,
of them?
well, I've played maybe like 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours of Red Dead Redemption.
Mm.
No, that's a lie. It's definitely more than 5 hours because the snow scene is very long. The beginning of the game is
But
very long.
I don't get the problem with this snow scene. It's
There's
building the
it's not.
character and
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't think it's a problem. I'm just saying that it is a long time in there. But whenever I play it, I always restart it. And now I'm the only reason why I don't want to play that game is because apparently there's a rumor that there is a native current gen patch coming,
all right.
and I'm just like, oh well, I can wait till that comes out, and then I'll play it like that. But knowing Rockstar, that's probably not going to come out for
Yeah.
a while.
I would recommend just cracking on.
Just
It is one
just
of the best games ever made.
Yeah, no, I do, and I do have that on my list as one of the episodes for Poetic Prose. So I do need to play it right
Okay,
to
amazing.
to do
Nice.
my analysis on it.
Yeah.
And then I guess for my cozy game, um, I don't know because I don't really play many cozy games.
Or just a game that
Um,
like makes you like feel good. Doesn't have to necessarily be cozy.
do you know what? I would probably say Astrobot.
I like it.
Um,
I knew you were gonna play that. I knew you were gonna pick that.
yeah, it's
Nice.
it's literally my favorite game. In fact, like I genuinely. So right now I'm in the process of like, um, I'm not buying any games
Yeah.
until for like the next couple of months. Um, but I'm basically like, if Sony was to come out tomorrow and be like, oh yeah, there's a new Astrobot coming out and it's out tomorrow and it's like, let's say something ridiculous like £80, I will be there day one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
It's too good of a game.
yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, I think those are my 3/4 picks.
Mm.
How about you?
So mini game would
Yeah.
be. Did you play Red Dead Redemption 1?
No, I haven't actually.
Well, there's a mini game called Five Finger Fillet,
Yeah.
and it's where like the guy you put your hand out. I'll try and do this so the camera can see, and you'll get a knife and you'll
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
do all that, and you do that on Red Dead 1, and I got so good at that, and there's a video on my TikTok. I managed to complete the hardest version of that without looking at the screen.
Mad.
Like I was literally there was I propped me like back in my old house. I propped my phone up over there, as
Yeah.
had the screen, and I looked at the camera and did it it probably took me about 8 goes to actually do it. Um, but that would be my mini game. That or did you ever play Spore?
No, I've always wanted to though.
It's very very good. It's on Steam, I think. It's
Mm.
usually only like a fiver or something. Um, but that had the first bit of that. You're like an amoeba, and it's the classic. You're a fish, and you have to
Yeah.
eat the bigger fish, and then you progress, and you can eat the bigger. And just anything like that kind of mini game. I love those types of things. Story based game. It would be a toss up. It's not what you think.
Oh.
It's not what you think. I've you'll be surprised at the top 10 we're doing with OT. You'll be
Okay.
surprised. Um, I'm gonna go, and this game isn't in my top 10, but it may be. I may change it. Hogwarts
Yeah.
Legacy,
Wow.
purely for
Okay.
replayability, and I absolutely. I think a game that I'd have to play over and over and over and over and over again. I feel like
Mm.
it'll be it probably would be Red Dead Redemption 2, but just to be a bit different, I'm gonna go Hogwarts Legacy. And a game that makes me feel good or a cozy game. Dog's Life on PS2. I don't know if you ever played that.
Dog's life. It sounds familiar.
It's literally you are a dog and you go around completing little tasks for different people, and you have to like
Yeah.
you get a hot dog from some chef, and like it's a poor game. It really is a poor game, but like I put a thing on my Discord a while ago, like all the games that I had ready to go on my emulator, and people were
Mm.
just talking about Dog's Life. Like it's a nostalgic game for a lot of people. So I
Yeah.
think it'd be that. That'd be mine.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that's a very solid list. It's very different to mine, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean,
But
to be fair, before you said yours, I was thinking Red Dead 2 and Astrobot. Genuinely.
really,
Um,
okay.
yeah. But do you know what? The more that I think about my games, I think about replayability and how easy they are to pick up. And the thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance, because everyone expects me to pick that, is I played the first one and I've done it.
Yeah,
I've platinumed it. I've completely done it. Like replayability, it's not really there for me. Like I even
no,
tried to stream it and I couldn't really do it. It was too slow. For like a stream. It's that game is one where if I had 10 weeks off
yeah,
and I didn't like housework didn't exist, picking Abby up from work didn't exist, like I could literally lock myself in my room and play it. Same with Red Dead 2. Um, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I would be more inclined to play more because I kind of blitzed through that game to make content on it, and I feel like it warped my perception of it. But I feel
yeah.
like if I went back and really took my time and enjoyed the game, I think I'd enjoy that more than KCD one. But I'm not I'm
Okay,
not not sure. But I'll definitely need to play it again. I think maybe for
yeah,
like my affiliate anniversary or something. Maybe.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
That's a great
My
shout.
my camera's
Out of
gone
focus
again.
again.
Hi.
Uh,
There we go.
no, yeah, yeah, no. So, yeah, I think it will be quite interesting to see um all the guests that we have on what their takes of or on the last meal is,
Yeah.
because yeah, it'll be interesting.
Because it's up for interpretation as well, isn't it? Especially that last, because like the first one, I was thinking of like a mini game, as in like a game within a game, but you took that as
Yeah,
like an actual mini game, like not a
yeah,
big
yeah,
game. So they are all up for interpretation. And the last one with the just a game that makes you feel good. They could say another story game if they wanted to. Um,
mm,
but yeah, I think that feature's going to be quite good. I quite like that. And
yeah,
any guests that are wanting to come on, or we're in talks already. Have a think about what yours might be.
yeah. Prepare yourself.
Yeah, prepare yourself. But guys, I think that'll do it for the season 4 Megabyte. So Poetic, if you
Yeah,
want to sign us off.
cool. Well, gamers, watchers, listeners, thank you so much for spending this time with us. Hopefully, season 4 is our best yet. I'm sure it will be. And as always, gamers, listeners, watchers, happy
Happy
gaming.
gaming.